With the advent of a remake, I see it fit to revisit The Crow from 1994, a story of love and grief told through a resurrected, avenging angel. We now have to ask, does The Crow hold up after 30 years, or was it time for a remake? Hi, and welcome to Studio Cinema Saturday, the show where we review films old and new, the ones you don't like and the ones that you do. I'm your host, Jackson Hamm, and today we're talking about The Crow 30 years later. This film was directed by Alex Proyas. It stars Brandon Lee as Eric Draven, Rochelle Davis as Sarah, Ernie Hudson as Sergeant Albrecht, Michael Wincott as Top Dollar, Bai Ling as Micah, and Sophia Shanaz as Shelley Webster. This movie, I feel, could only have existed in the 90s. From top to bottom, this feels like a 90s movie. Hell, some of the shots feel like a grunge music video, probably just to match the grunge soundtrack. I think trying to even remotely make this film in like the 80s or the 2000s would not have worked at all. I think every element came together at once, both great and tragic, to make this film at the time it was made. Throughout the film permeates a sense of grief, not only due to the story of the film, but also due to the loss of their leading man during the making of it. You can definitely find moments where the scene is not only reflecting on the events that took place on screen, but Brandon Lee himself. After all, the film is dedicated to Brandon and his fiancée, Eliza. This review can't go on without a mention of the man who stepped up, Chad Stahelski. Chad was Brandon's stunt double on this film and stood in for him after his death. Brandon Lee in parts of this film is an instance of CGI face compositing. Chad Stahelski would later go on to be a stunt double for Keanu Reeves, and then later direct him in 2014's John Wick. The look of this film is amazing. It truly gives you a city that feels like a hellhole run by gangsters and thugs. Everything is run down and the scenery itself can almost emit a sense of hopelessness. Let's talk about some of the performances real quick. Brandon Lee as Eric Draven really sells this man brought back to gain some form of finality against those who destroyed his life, giving the energy and playfulness that the criminals have right back at them.
Victims, aren't we all?
Ernie Hudson plays a wonderful foil and oftentimes comedic relief, giving a natural break from the heaviness and bringing the plot back down to earth.
You still have your hat on.
Michael Wincott plays an oh-so-sinister villain that you just can't get enough of, chewing on the scenery and just leaving a presence you can feel when he arrives on screen.
Quick impression for you. Caw, bang, fuck, I'm dead!
Let's pivot to something I consider to be an essential aspect of this film, the soundtrack, which features such prominent artists as The Cure, Stone Temple Pilots, 9 Inch Nails, Rage Against the Machine, and Pantera. Shout out to my two favorite songs, Burn by The Cure and Dead Souls by 9 Inch Nails. Also, a special call out to Ghost Rider by Rollins Band. Give that one a listen. It's a little funny. Now let's talk about a few highlight scenes, such as when Eric finally applies the makeup. This scene is masterfully crafted with music and cinematography, all coming together to make a suit-up style scene more unique. Another one I love is when Top Dollar is meeting with all the criminals and Eric shows up and they all just try to gun him down and he pops back up, so playful, just kind of throwing it in their face. You can't kill me, and I'm here to destroy everything that you stand for. There are many other scenes I could talk about in this movie, but I'm going to keep the list short so I can talk about this last one. This is my personal favorite scene in the film. It's when Eric visits Albrecht at his apartment. It really drills down to a core theme of the movie, and that is love. It's this sweet and tender moment of levity in the film, where we are told nothing is trivial. Not in love, not in life.
It's funny. Little things used to mean so much to Shelley. I used to think they were kind of trivial. Believe me, nothing is trivial.
And to me, that is one of the most powerful scenes in this film. This is all bookended by one of my favorite one-liners in the film, which I'll play right now.
You shouldn't smoke these. They'll kill you.
With all of this, it's time to answer the question from the beginning of this video. Did this film need a remake 30 years later? The short answer, No, it didn't need a remake. This film is pretty definitive, in my opinion, and as I said before, could have only been made when it was back in the 90s. This remake that came out has been in development for years, and before Bill Skarsgård was attached to play Eric Draven, Jason Momoa was leading it. To me, this alone, along with the trailer itself, told me it was going to be overthought, undercooked, and to put it simply, a cash grab. If you want to go and watch The Crow, I say they made it 30 years ago. And to end off this retrospective review, let's score it with an 8.5 out of 10 for this essential 90s classic. If you enjoyed this episode of Studio Cinema Saturday, we cover all sorts of different films, such as Alien Romulus or Cuckoo. There's also our sister show, Television Tuesday, where we cover TV such as House of the Dragon Season 2 or The Sopranos Season 1. I also gotta shout out our pals over at Sloth Cinema. They just released Michael's Not Real, and they're experiencing some festival success with Michael's Not Real and their other film, David's Not Real. And to end off this review with a quote from the film, "If the people we love are stolen from us, the way to have them live on is to never stop loving them. Buildings burn, people die, but real love is forever." And thank you for watching.